The second game just started, and to the bottom left we have our Protoss player with 1-0 lead against his opponent in this best of 3. We have once again our player for the MVP team.
MVP Genius.
There he is. Really good record against Zerg. Actually, the matchup against Zerg is his best matchup. He's really strong, even though he lost to Nongragu in the Codes finals last season. To the top right we have his opponent, the Zerg player for the Prime team. It is
BBoongBBoong Prime.
And just to name two of the recent victims of Genius, two of the recent Zerg victims, he was able to defeat Nestea in Codes with 2-1, and Nongragu in the regular season also could not hold a candle to the Protoss player from MVP in the finals. We had Nongragu prevailing over his teammate, but still Genius is just an excellent PvZ player.
Yeah, really innovative in this matchup as well. Now, something to consider about the previous match that I was thinking about was if BBoongBBoong had actually gotten burrow movement and burrow speed at the same time from both of his roach runs, he would have had burrow movement in time to perhaps save some of those roaches before the Observer got there, because if he could pull his first group of roaches back, he might have been able to survive a little bit longer. I don't know. I'm thinking about that now, and that decision would have been a tough one to make, and I still don't think he even realized he had 2 roach warrens at the time. I'm sure he knows it now, but we're going to have another pylon block here for Genius. That's something to consider about last game, because if he had that burrow movement, he would have been able to pull his roaches back, get them all together before the Observer got there instead of having them cut. But the Stalker count for Genius was just out of control, man. He had 30 Stalkers at that last fight. It was like 30 Stalkers and 26 roaches or something.
It was also so smart from Genius to immediately just go for the robotics and get this Observer. We have a lot of Zerg players that neglect the burrow upgrade for quite a while when they reach the lair tech, but BBoongBBoong went for it right away. We actually see him taking his third base first here, as he realizes that he won't be there in time in order to kill the pylon and get his expansion up. So expansion now also for Genius, who just started his own Nexus.
Yep. Now, when you're a Protoss, when you see that your opponent has not taken the natural, it does kind of lead you to believe that he's going to go for a fast third, but you still can't be too sure. You do have to go and double check with the scouting probe to see if your opponent's mining gas or if he's taking his natural. Because if you don't know that, you know, if your opponent does do an all-in, he's going to have a more forward pressure ability from that hatchery that's at the third base rather than the natural. So usually you can assume your opponent is taking a fast third when this happens, but not always. As you can see, in this case, BBoongBBoong is with no double gases taken. The question is, will Genius go for a full wall off, or will he try to... I don't think he's going to do it, but he may decide to do that. If so, he's going to need to keep that probe outside and hide it.
It's going to be really interesting to see what exactly Genius has planned now for the follow-up. As soon as the Cybernetics core is done, we will definitely either see once again the Stargate attack, or he might just prepare a gateway attack. He's playing on a map right now where he is a little bit favored due to his race in the last season of the GSL. We've seen a lot of Protoss players prevail on Cloud Kingdom. In general, Protoss have a 60% win ratio on this map, while Zerg is second place with 47%. So a map that's... most players really like it. Most of the players I talked about Cloud Kingdom were like, yeah, I really like the map, it's a good one. But Protoss is still a tiny little bit favored if we just take the games that we've seen last season into consideration.
Well, Genius was so eager to make his Stargate that he actually had a probe there before the core was done. He made the Stargate immediately and is even going Sentry before Warp Gate research just to make sure he has a Sentry out in time. Now the gas is going down for BBoongBBoong.
Genius is basically doing exactly what he did on the last map. So he, as Wolf just mentioned, he waits with his Stargate, with his Warp Gate tech, and he starts the Stargate before the Sentry. So the same opening once again for the MVP player. And at this point we have the 3 bases for BBoongBBoong, who is not going for the early aggression on this map, which is also a smart decision, as it's very, very easy just to wall off. It's not Antigua Shipyard, obviously.
Yep. Notice Genius also did a wall where he has 1 Zealot gap there, so he's not going to be doing a full wall, so he can always send more probes out to put forward pylons down, to scout, which he was able to do just now. Now, Genius is actually one of those players who really understands how to use Stargate play. He never overcommits. We saw him last game just make the Void Ray, even used it for scouting later, then just left the Stargate alone. But he knows when it's appropriate to Chrono Boost out Phoenixes, for example. Now the question is, what will he do next? The lair is now on the way for BBoongBBoong, as he is, gassed up a little bit here. I'm really concerned that if he expects some sort of full Stargate play here, he may misinterpret what Genius is doing, and that's the scariest part about Genius in all matchups from PvP, PvT to PvZ, is that you never really know what he's going to do. And look at this, he's going to go up for 6 gateways to follow this up, so he's going to have a total of 6 and the Void Ray, and if he does not respond accordingly to this, he's going to die.
At this point in time, we have BBoongBBoong with quite a late Roach Run and Evolution Shaver. Usually we see them around the 7-minute and 20 and 30-second mark. He builds them after the 8th minute, but they should still be ready in time in order to prepare against this. But the main question is, will he be able to read his opponent's strategy?
Yeah, that is the question, because right now Genius has actually patrolled the Void Ray around to kill both Overlords that were hunting his base, and he actually was able to stop complete scouting. He also has the gateways on the far left, so they can't be scouted by Zerglings, and his opponent is completely in the dark right now. He has no idea.
The only thing that could give his strategy away is the +1 attack timing that we have now. So if he's able to go in with his Zergling and at least spot the upgrade, then he might be prepared for it, but it's going to be a tough battle.
That's a really good thing to note. Also, you'll note that there is no Phoenix accompanying this Void Ray, and normally if any sort of additional Stargate play have been going on, he would have Phoenixes with the Void Ray, so we can expect now that he's trying to take a 3rd, which is fairly unlikely. Oh, he sees this now, so that is really huge. To see that many sentries will at least force him to make some roaches. The question is, will he make enough?
He has to, he definitely has to. He's preparing right now with the Ling speed, Roach speed, going for +1 attack time. Even the Hydra Den, which I really like in this situation. This could help him quite a lot.
Yeah,
he knows their Stargate. There is no robotics tech, so at this point, Hydralists are very, very strong, but he needs a little bit of time.
He does, man. Roach speed is not going to be done in time. This many sentries, it's so good you can actually use the hatchery as part of your force field wall on this map, but the roaches are already in position. Nice choice by BBoongBBoong.
I like this, that he actually uses a few of his roaches and Zerglings to the left side so that the force fields won't be as brutal as they could be.
Yep, the Spore Crawler moving into position here. He's going to damage the Void Ray slightly. And Genius may have to back off here. It's really tough for him to commit. If he backs off and takes a 3rd, he might be able to do so securely since he's forced so many units, but doesn't look like he will. He's warping in more aggressive units now.
He's committing, and he kind of has to. The first Hydralists are being built. Hydralist range is on its way, but here come the force fields, and the Roach is trying to defend, immediately forcing down the fuel stalkers and trying to snipe the sentries. But here is Genius backing off, and BBoongBBoong. He's retreating once again. He can't save his units. He has to wait for the Hydralisks here. And Genius is in some trouble. It looks like BBoongBBoong might just be able to defend, but it's going to be a tough battle nonetheless.
Absolutely good force fields for Genius here, using the hatchery, as I mentioned earlier, as part of the wall. And the Spore going to work on the Void Rays. He's actually going to be careful with those. The Roach positioning here is great for BBoongBBoong. The Hydras are out. Does he have enough support for them? It looks like he just might.
Oh, this is going to be very tough. He might have to pull the drones, and yes, indeed he does.
He's pulling the drones. The Stalkers need to be pulled back away from the drones. The Void Rays fall. More Roaches coming out here, and it looks like BBoongBBoong may hold, but it's still close. It's tough to say. The Hydra doing some extra damage at the back.
He warps in additional units, but here come the Hydralists and the Roaches. The Zerg units going to town here, taking down the pilot, and BBoongBBoong does it, Wolf.
He does it, man. B4. He's pulled it off, man. I can't believe he was able to hold it. Really nice micro.
So well done. He kind of played, he was completely in the dark. He had no Overlord. As you already pointed out, this one Void Ray just made sure that there was no scouting information whatsoever. The only thing that he knew about was the +1 attack timing, and he decided to play it safe and was rewarded for it. We have now +1 attack and +1 armor for our Protoss player, for MVP Genius. And we also see him now with the tech to Colossi. He needs something against those Hydralisks, but right now he doesn't. And he will at least lose his Forge and maybe even his complete wall in.
Yeah, he may lose the Gateway as well. And he is just going to be stuck on 2 base for so long with the extra Hydra damage here. He's actually going to be able to poke. He may be able to just win the game. You're exactly right.
He needs more Hydralists in order to pull it off, but Colossi will be so late into this game.
There's no way to get the Colossi out in time. You know, the thing is, at this point, he may not even make any more Hydras because they have to walk all the way across the map. He's just going to keep trading here. Force Genius to stay on 2 base, warp in more units. Sentries, for example, warping in those 3 sentries right there means his robotic support base is going to be even more delayed.
Very, very true. Hydralists, they are so slow, so it takes quite a while for them to walk across the map. He still has a timing here, because as mentioned already, the Colossi will be so late. They will be so late in the game. And look at it, BoongBoong is already preparing for it. He's not only getting the Spire, but he is starting his tech with the Infestation Pit, and with the Spire he can choose Corruptus if need be. So really smart play here by BoongBoong.
Look at the worker count cover, 80 to 48. That tells a pretty big story. BoongBoong can actually take a 4th base fairly soon as well if he wants to. Look at how well his creep is spread. You can see that silhouette of the hatchery over there. He's going to be making a 4th base very soon. And with the creep spread he has, with the amount of units he has out, it's going to be almost impossible for Genius to win this game. Great, great defense. You mentioned it earlier. With very limited information, he actually was able to hold. He saw with his Zerglings on the watchtower a bunch of sentries, and from there he had to decide, is this another fake? Is this one of Genius's fake tactics, or is he actually going to commit? He decided to make the units, and it ended up being the right choice in this case. The Overlords are coming out. They have speed. He's going to do a creep highway here, which means Hydras can reinforce quickly now.
I really like it, and we already have the Hive tech for him as well. Very, very smart decision making here by BoongBoong, preparing for the late game. Yeah. The first Colossi will be built soon. He starts already with the extended Thermal Lance upgrade, and once again trying to get in here, poking, taking down the first and the second cannon. He still has a huge army and can now start to spread his creep.
Yeah, he can. He's got so many Hydras. The Overlords are going to grant vision. He may have to turn around here though, because even with these Overlords, the army is getting pretty scary for Genius, but even if he trades, he's going to be fine, and it looks like he's just going to keep his opponent in the base. He's trying to hide his numbers here underneath the Overlords, and any units that move forward onto the creep will be picked off because the range and the speed there is just too much.
And I'm just so impressed by BoongBoong's playstyle here. He's already going for a 4th base. He has his Hive tech. He will probably start with the Greater Spire soon, and Genius is hard-pressed. He really... That's the Greater Spire upgrade. +2 is about to finish too.
He's doing everything at once, man.
Genius, at this point, he does... I don't think that he has Blink, does he?
No, he does not. He has no ability to get Blink. He doesn't even have a Twilight Council.
Yes.
Oh, nice move forward here. He's actually going to target down the sentries, which really decreases the ability to move out of Genius. Genius will clean up this army with great force fields, but these are going to be the last force fields he has. And he won't really be able to hit a timing after this. He'll try, but it's going to be so tough. Look at that, 22 Roaches already out on the field. He can actually make Corruptors, which he has 12 on the way.
Indeed he does. He's going for the Greater Spire. He's going for Broodlords now, and...
Oh, look, he's going to buy time with these Overlords too. This is actually so smart.
He definitely can afford it this time. Even though he lost a few of those Overlords, he is not even supply blocked.
He thinks it's a drop. Genius is actually overreacting to this. Now he's realized, oh, it's a fake, and he's moving out with his units again. But
look at the scouting information. He doesn't know anything at all.
No, he has no clue. He's been trapped on his 2 bases for so long. He is going to catch these Overlords, which will limit the production temporarily of his opponent, but it's not going to be that significant with 12 Corruptors out with 30 Roaches here. He doesn't want to fight just yet.
And here come the Overlords. He does not know what exactly is going to happen. The first snipe on the Colossus, the second one is dying as well, and here comes BoongBoong, but Genius, he's not done just yet. He has a pretty scary force here.
I don't like the choice to fight there. He's actually going to lose his base now. He was a little bit overconfident.
He needs the Broodlords.
Absolutely. He's going to make them now, but this base may buy him just enough time to get it. Will Genius just ignore the base? He can see the Broodlords now. He has no blink, so he can't blink under them. He needs to approach them now if he wants them. This is actually the best chance Genius is going to have. BoongBoong may have made a critical mistake. He may lose the game for it.
I think this is the only chance that Genius has. As soon as there are enough Broodlords, he should be able to defend against it. The Broodlords will pop very soon. Here they are. Broodlords going to town with the Roaches as well. The Corruptors need to use Corruption here, trying to assist. And here comes Genius just trying to back off, save his army, especially, of course, the Immortals. But at this point, what exactly can he do? He needs Blink.
He missed the timing. He has no Blink. His Twilight Council is on the way. You can see on the production tab. He has no more ability to pressure. What can he do now? Can he try to take a 3rd base? Yeah, he can try, but first of all, he needs an observer to clean up that Roach.
Exactly. He needs a 3rd base. Without a 3rd base, he won't be able to get the Mothership, and he needs one. He needs a Mothership. He needs Archons. This is a late-game Zerg composition that he's dealing with right now, and he is basically stuck with a huge amount of Tier 2 units.
Yeah, he's stuck with Tier 2 units with poor upgrades right now. His opponent is at 2-1 with his Roach upgrades. Consider that Genius is just at 1-1. He could
He's
have
long
perhaps
distance
in the
mining.
game. Yeah, he's long distance mining because his Nexus got canceled by that Roach that he still hasn't dealt with because he only has one Observer out right now. Things just looking terrible for Genius right now. There's nothing he can really do. He had that one timing. He did not kill the Broodlords before they morphed, and because of that, he's never going to be able to control this game now, and he will lose a slow and painful death. The Roach even going to do some harassment there to draw Genius away while he goes, we're going to have a base race now, but I don't think Genius can win this one. He is about to have Blink, which will give him a huge mobility advantage, but his opponent's already upon him.
Genius tried to hit this huge timing with this Gateway Army and the Void Ray support, but BBoongBBoong was able to throw him back. He had the better attack at this point and also the better economy. He's made good use of it, and here comes the army of the Zerg player of the Prime team. We have BBoongBBoong going for it, taking down the expansion of his opponent. He still has a lot of minerals. He can just sneak out with few of his drones and rebuild another base. At this point, the main base is going to fall, and I don't think that Genius has a chance of killing his opponent's base faster than his own is going to be destroyed.
Yeah, he has enough for another Nexus if he wants to try to hide that, but I'd rather see him hide 4 assimilators. You can even get more than 4 at this point, of course, with 75 minerals apiece. You can hide, I guess, 6, but I don't think he's going to be able to win this trade. You're exactly right. He's not even started anything yet. He needs to make another structure. He's about to be revealed.
Just have a quick look at the supply. We have now 80 supply against 163. BBoongBBoong is still mining. He has 34 Roaches. There are only 31 Stalkers left and 3 Immortals. That's all that he's got. Even Hydralisks are still in the mix. A few Queens, and we have the 9 Broodlords. This army is just so powerful.
Yeah, he already has a hatchery at Genius's natural. There's no way Genius can actually fight that army. And with the hatchery there, he has to fight the army. There's nothing else he can do. And to be quite frank, Caldor, he's still mining. He's actually mining right now. He actually pulled his drones away, but he has mining bases he could have been using. He's just going to make a hatchery in the middle of the map and camp on top of it because he can just frankly do that.
Yes, indeed he can, and here comes now Genius trying to engage and trying to win this last battle, because it's definitely going to be the last, but the Broodlord's already dealing down a ton of damage with the Broodlings and nice concave by the Stalkers, but will it be enough? I seriously doubt it, as the Roaches and the Hydralisks are going in the heart of the Protoss army now.
GG, BBoongBBoong ties it up 1-1. Genius with a failed timing attack. Nice decision making by BBoongBBoong, nice defense, and a great follow-up. Yeah, great game. I completely agree. Couldn't agree more. There's Gerard coming in to congratulate BBoongBBoong. And Genius now has to play a 3rd game on a map of his choice. See what map he chooses. He doesn't look very happy about that last game, and I think he knows that he could have won the game with his 2nd attack with the Immortals and Stalkers. He just missed his timing by literally a few seconds, and if he had just pushed up a little bit faster, he might have been able to win that game. I know you and I were getting a little bit stressed watching because we were like, I can't believe a game that should be almost unlosable, he might lose because he fought in the wrong place, but barely held, and Genius missed the timing.
You're making a great point here. We always see players when in a very, very confident situation overextending just a tiny little bit and suddenly find themselves in a spot where they lose a base or two because they just don't have the units in order to fend back their opponent's army. And this is kind of what happened. We had brilliant force fields by Genius. He trapped a lot of the units of his opponent. We already had, I think it was 2 Colossi that he had. He did a ton of damage, and then BBoongBBoong was just forced to retreat. But he bought time with the Overlords, a decision that I really like. He didn't even try to defend his 4th base. He just sacked it and was like, okay, I have to wait for my Broodlords. If I attack right now, I will lose the game. I have to wait for the Broodlords. I know at this point he does not have Blink. With the Broodlords, I'll be able to fend it off.
Absolutely, man. And you know, even if he had waited a little bit more, if he'd been a little bit more patient, he probably would have even been able to hold that 4th. If he, instead of fighting on top of the ramp, if he waited a little bit longer and possibly made his Broodlords there for a second, he might have been able to hold his 4th, but he fought Genius' army a little too soon. But still, again, with the Overlords buying him time, he held, and a great game overall from BBoongBBoong there. I really love this play.
And the next map is going to be tough for him, and we are going to see a match on Entombed Valley. Once again, PVZ on Entombed, the good choice by Genius.
Yep, consider because it's loser's pick on in Code S, it's very important to win that first game, because otherwise if you go to a 3rd game, your opponent gets the last map choice. We're going to jump into the game right now. This is GSL Code S with Wolf and Caldor. Genius and BBoongBBoong, our final game in this best of 3.